First off, let's start with some PlayStation Portable. You will see that there are actually some problems with the emulation performance. You will find some hiccups here and there. Let's hold the device differently. All the buttons have been configured correctly. Here we can even made a quick load, quick save. And what I just did is pressing both of the joysticks. So one of the cool ways you can mess around with it, you get into the settings. Oh, pressing the wrong button. Getting in here, we have the option to mess around. Already has been set to frame skip 1. This device is not really powerful, so a lot of tweaks have been implemented to get some of the games actually running. So one of the issues I've noticed a lot with PlayStation, it's not the overall bad emulation performance, no, it's actually pretty great on this. But the downside to these devices is that they are putting files on here, or you accidentally ripping your files wrong and you don't have any audio whatsoever. Doesn't matter for this review, I just wanted to showcase how fast it loads and actually also what you can play. The thing is, you don't have any background music, so the soul of the game is absolutely gone. Loading times are of course significantly faster than when you're having the official game on your PlayStation. But the performance is absolutely great. All the buttons have been mapped perfectly. But I don't find it really pleasant to play this game with the very strange back buttons. But let's get into a different game, because this game does have audio in the background. But the overall performance for PlayStation is great, and I can tell you that it's finally one of those many devices that they released that we can finally just enjoy some old school Tekken or other games from your library. On the go. Come on. Oh, that guy is so freaking annoying. Oh, now it blocks everything. Ow. Seriously, I'm going to lose this. Ooh, almost a double KO here. But let's move on to some Neo Geo arcade gaming. And the overall performance is pretty damn great on this. If you just want to play some old school games, this is just more than enough. The only problem is I'm trying to find the buttons I need to use. You'll switch to the analog stick if you want to. And of course the right joystick doesn't do anything with this particular game. Another system I would love to try is some Sega Game Gear, the stuff that I personally also grew up with. Let me know in the comments, did you grow up with a Game Gear or do you have something else? I do read that some people have an Atari Lynx or a Game Boy like me. Pretty damn awesome to hear that a lot of people have experienced these games back in the day. So one of the things I find so pleasant to play with this thing is just the D-pad. I've noticed with fighting games, you can navigate so easily and very pleasant through the game. So the inputs when it comes to that are absolutely great. The same goes for the emulation performance. But next up, I just wanted to check out one of my favorite games on the Mega Drive or Genesis. And I can tell you that is absolutely great to see this game again. And it fits perfectly when it comes to the display. I did complain about the speaker itself, that we don't have the same duo speaker, but it doesn't sound, let's say, super bad. The stereo effect is here, something I really miss with a lot of these, let's say, cheaper devices. We have reached the point when it comes to the cheap devices. You have amazing performance, and also when it comes just the way how it looks, it is great. Absolutely, and really nostalgia seeing these games. But let's push this device to the limit. And let's choose some Dead Alive 2 with the Sega Dreamcast. And oh yeah, it stutters. It struggles big time with Dreamcast. And that's one of the reasons that I wish they just optimizes these devices more. And don't even say it isn't able to run. Because this is, in my opinion, completely unplayable. You can always try to optimize it through the RetroArch. But and again, I think it's not going to be mattering because this is just actually what you're going to get when it comes to, let's say, in chipset and overall software emulation performance. But if you're like me and you just want to enjoy some Game Boy Classic, we can just actually play this pretty damn well. So one of the things I've also noticed when it comes to some of the devices, if it has a really bad D-pad, what I've seen with the SF2000, it makes some of the games like Tetris absolutely unplayable. And I can tell you, I can really enjoy it this way without any problem whatsoever. So for Game Boy Classic, in combination with the display resolution, I think it's pretty damn good. So what I recall when it comes to the Game Boy Advance, this is not the perfect overall resolution, but still, maybe it's not pixel perfect. I think it still looks really great on this device. And no problem whatsoever with emulation when it comes to the Game Boy Advance. A system that has so many hidden gems when it comes to games. Where I basically stepped out of the Game Boy Advance scene back in the day, I absolutely missed out a lot. But I can tell you, this system is just amazing. Not only the Sonic Advance games, they are great, but also other games, they're absolutely like gems. But if you want to get into the Nintendo DS, I don't really know if this is actually the way how you want to play. Simply because some of the games here you can see that it runs pretty good. But pressing the shoulder button at the back, here we can switch between the single and the dual screen and they're going to get really tiny. Next up we can switch between both of the displays if you need to, but of course the bottom part was touch, so you need to mess around with the stylus like this. I personally don't like this at all. Let me know in the comments, do you really prefer to play the game like this? I would rather to get myself an original Nintendo DS and just play it like that. I just want to give you an example of what you're going to see in the emulation of the N64. Cruising USA is actually in quite a nice benchmark because not a lot of stuff will actually run this perfectly or at a decent frame rate, so we can just enjoy this old school classic one. But besides that, it is running really bad. This is a great example of the micro switch joystick at the back or thumb drive. Oh man, it's really difficult to actually play this game. Even if it was running on normal speed, the shoulder buttons are or the back buttons are so difficult to actually use in this device. It's really annoying. But of course, but again, when it comes to this certain emulation part, there are only a couple of N64 games that run at least decent enough to enjoy. Next up, let's take a close look at some Super NES, because it's not all that bad, of course. If you just want to enjoy some old school games, this is absolutely an amazing piece of equipment. Also the audio itself, I'm still surprised by it, how good it actually sounds for one single speaker. I think it's due of the single speaker being a front-facing speaker. I'm still going to get hit by the freaking rocket. Arrgh! But when it comes to the MAME and arcade games, we can play so many games, but take consideration if you want to play certain games, you don't have all of the games available. For example, Killer Instinct will not run on this. And we still have this weird thing going on with the shadows of Mortal Kombat 2. But beside that, we do have a full speed going on.